We're tracking H1N1 at Fox News, and state healthcare workers in New York State have a couple of months to get the H1N1 vaccine and the seasonal flu vaccine, or they'll be out of a job. It's an emergency regulation that's put into place, and it's prompted a protest, really, at the state capitol. The protest happened earlier today, and here's the video from it. Here's the controversy. New York is, at the moment anyway, the only state to require this vaccine to protect patients from catching flu from their health care providers. And protesters say they just should not be forced to get this shot, not by the government. Some of the protesters claim the vaccine has not been fully tested and that they don't want to be guinea pigs. It's important to note here that the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says that the vaccine is completely safe, or it would not be giving it to anyone. With us now is Sue Field. She's a nurse in Poughkeepsie, New York, and organized, or at least was one of the organizers of the protest today in Albany, New York. Ma'am, good to see you. Tell me why.
Well, let me tell you, we got this letter from our employer, and it took us completely by surprise. They were telling us that, you know, you're going to need to be getting these seasonal flu shots and these H1N1 swine flu shots as a condition of our employment. Never before in my life has anyone told me as a condition of my employment, you know, that I need to be injected with agents that I don't necessarily feel comfortable being injected with, and that's how we all feel. There are very few in the workplace that are willing to, you know, just get in a line and say go for it, but most of us just don't feel that it's safe.
Well, first of all, now wait just a minute. Hang on just a second. I got to get in here. CDC says it's safe. And before we and our parents and our children go stand in line, and I'm going to hear from healthcare workers in Poughkeepsie, New York, that they don't think it's safe, why the heck should I get in line? That sounds like a bad thing for the general population. I feel like we ought to trust the CDC on this, and if not, why not?
Well, you know, when when these drug companies will, you know, publicly state that they are not going to be liable for anything that happens to us when we take these vaccinations, when the makers of the drugs, you can go and see, you know, all over the media that they won't take it themselves. Well, why should I want to put that in my body? And that's the general argument.
I thought the general argument was that you didn't want the government telling you anything that you can shoot into your body, which I sort of understand. Except for the fact that children are required to have a lot of shots. Every child in the United States is. Once you get into school, you have to have it or you can't do the school. What's the difference? Well,
Shepard, will you feel comfortable being told that you're going to lose your job potentially if you, as a condition of your employment, need to be having a fast-tracked drug? I mean, the FDA does not have the best track record with a lot of medications. Look at all the medications that have caused injury to people that came out and people said, oh, yeah, these are safe, these are effective, they've been tested. You know, we all know that this is a fast-track medication. It contains thimerosal, it contains mercury, it contains a lot of things.
You know what I'm afraid of, though?
You know,
I got to tell you.
What?
I'm afraid that the CDC has gotten a vaccine together because they're afraid this flu is going to spread across America and kill a lot of people. And that healthcare workers in Albany, New York... No, why don't we just be honest for a second? When the CDC comes out and says that, and then, I mean, I understood this, my understanding of your argument was that you didn't want the government telling you what to put in your body. I understood that. But this thing, with you not really having direct knowledge of what's in this vaccine, and then telling our viewers, some of whom might be very, very sick if they don't get this vaccine, I just don't feel like that's very responsible.
There's a lot of information out there that suggests that the swine flu in most people is a mild illness, and that you will derive better immunity from a mild case in which your body produces the antibodies
and
for.
It kills others.
You know, and the seasonal flu kills a lot of people every year. And when
I know it does, and I'm not afraid of the seasonal flu shot.
Mr. Smith.
Well, I'm not here to. This has just sort of blindsided me. My understanding was that you didn't think the federal government ought to be telling you what you must shoot into your body. That I got. But you've done no research on this thing. The Centers for Disease Control has dozens and dozens and hundreds of dedicated people who the last thing in the world they'd want to do is hurt anybody. And I can't imagine a world where they would put something out that they knew was not necessarily safe, and to have a healthcare worker who's not done a single bit of research on this particular vaccine to tell our viewers that it might be bad for them, to me seems irresponsible. What do you think?
Mr. Smith, it's presumptuous for you to tell me and all the healthcare workers that feel the same way that I do, that we haven't done any research, that we haven't looked into this, that we've not done any reading. We have a lot. Yes, we have.
So you think, based on your research, the vaccine that the CDC is going to put out to try to keep people from getting flu is bad for them?
Well, you know, it's the seasonal flu vaccine is the issue with that being a problem is that they're forcing it on us as a condition of our employment. That
okay,
was
well, now that was the
situation.
argument that I thought was fine, and I'm going to just let that argument go. But to be telling the CDC with absolutely no information, if you have it, please send it to us, and I'll retract it. But if you don't have research which says this thing is bad for you, then to tell our viewers as a healthcare worker that it is, I think is irresponsible. And for that reason, with great respect, and I wouldn't want the government telling me what to put in my body either, but to tell our viewers that it's bad for them when we don't know, I just don't think that's the right thing to do. I wish you well in your quest, though.
A lot of people have been injured by vaccines, Mr. Smith.
I'm aware of this, but I don't think this is responsible, and as a result, we're going to end it here. Good luck with your protest.
And that's what the commissioner would like to say. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Look, I thought this was about the government telling people. We're through. I thought this was about the government telling you what you can and can't shoot in your body. That's what this segment was supposed to be about. And if I had known that a healthcare worker who doesn't have the research is going to say that the CDC is wrong and that this vaccine is going to hurt you, I wouldn't have let it on the air. All right, that's it. So here we go.